I had this email that came in actually about a little over a month ago that I wanted to talk about here because it's an example of people talking about things and offering advice about things without actually understanding what it is they're talking about.
Oh, no.
So there are people that think that if you get the right answer to the God question, suddenly you become an uber skeptic and qualified to talk about other things. So this guy writes us, and he's very concerned about the promotion of creation science and intelligent design in public schools. And so,
As we all are.
Yes, it's not something that has escaped our notice. And he says in this email, you seem to be going through an endless cycle. Religious fruitcakes gain control of a school's governing body. They try to introduce creationism or intelligent design in some form or another. Perhaps it's teach the controversy or offer them as alternative theories. The scientific community rallies and takes court action. So far, they've won every time, but that cannot be assured going forward. How would Gorsuch vote? And these things have never gone to the Supreme Court, so they never get that far.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to say that's not a concern eventually.
Right, but
like the Supreme Court, if they get taken over by a bunch of very religious people, could always hear a case and make a blanket ruling that just throws everything into chaos.
Right.
In theory.
The thing about that, though, is that in order for a case to get to court, there has to be some dispute at a lower court level.
Right.
And so far, the lower courts have been unanimous on this.
Yeah.
So the creationists have never won a court case.
And I don't even know if they expect to. I mean, they use these court cases, which are basically at other people's expense. They sucker some city or state into standing up for a law that they know damn well is never going to hold up.
Right.
And they drum it up for fundraising purposes, but in reality, when it hits the courts, it loses over and over and over again.
Yeah. So this guy, he claims that every victory has been Pyrrhic. Maybe it's because he sees them using these as fundraising deals, but they're raising money from a limited pool of people, and I don't care if they want to waste their money on that. His solution is, suppose we do not give them a fight. Suppose we say to the parents, the choice is yours. If you want your children to have a second-rate science education, if you want to lock them out of being able to pursue a career in science, so be it. If that is not what you want, you go fight the bastards. Go after them. Kick them off your school's governing body. Insist on high-quality biology textbooks that do not skirt around the issue of evolution. Well, it's interesting that this guy offers this piece of advice because that is exactly what has happened in every single court case.
Yeah, what I don't understand in that argument is who is the you and who is the they.
I think he thinks that the scientific community and atheist organizations are the ones filing these lawsuits.
Right.
In fact, you have to have standing in order to file a lawsuit like this. And unless we live in the district where these things are happening, we don't have standing. So it is actually the parents of the students who are being affected by this, who are filing these lawsuits and bringing these cases to court. And in fact, in the latest round of this, the Kitzmiller v. Dover case, which was back in, I think, 2005
Was
or
that
6.
latest? That's
it's been 13
years ago.
It's been a while.
Has there not been anything major since then?
That was such an epic dragging of the creationist and intelligent design proponents that I think they're still out there licking their wounds. And it was the parents that brought the lawsuit. And then they voted, all the people that voted to basically put intelligent design in the curriculum, the parents, the voters, went out and removed all of those people from the school board. So they not only lost in court, they lost their seat on the school board, and they basically retook their school board. That has happened in every single case where this has come before the courts.
Right.
So,
although I don't want to let people get complacent because we now have a United States Secretary of Education who is a religious extremist and among other things does not seem to believe that public schools should even exist.
Right.
And does think that religious education should be on an equal level with real education. Yeah,
and that is a significant problem that we have to combat on a national level, and that's why we need organizations like the ACLU and Freedom from Religion Foundation and others that basically serve as watchdogs. Here in Texas, we have our own watchdog organization. It's a one-of-a-kind organization called Texas Freedom Network. And they're the ones that are organizing all of the activities around what the Texas State Board of Education comes up with, because we do have some creationists on the SBOE, and we have to be very vigilant about their attempts at getting creationism and intelligent design inserted into the science curriculum in particular. TFN's very active on that. Many of us provide money and time and effort to TFN as we can. And so if you don't have an organization like that in your state, I suggest that you get together with like-minded individuals and create one. Texas is in kind of a unique position because our legislature and our politicians tend to overreach whenever they can. And so that's why you see a lot of activity like TFN and also a lot of Supreme Court decisions that come out of Texas that end up advancing civil rights for everyone, because our government is, everything's bigger in Texas, and the mistakes tend to get bigger too. So,
right.
Anyway, so that was an example of weighing in on a subject without actually understanding what's going on here.
That's, and I mean, I do not know this emailer's situation, but it doesn't sound like he's a parent. And when he says, if those parents want to let their kids be ignorant, then let them fight against it.
Yeah.
You and I are both parents, and we damn well do care what kind of stuff the schools are pushing on our kids.
Well, and I mean, his last thing, he talks about, let us not merely teach evolution, but also the story of how the science of evolutionary biology developed and about the characters involved. And he talks about Darwin, Alfred Russel Wallace, Mendel, Watson Crick, Franklin, and many others. I'm very active in my child's school, and I know, very well what he studies in school. He studies all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. That stuff's all in the curriculum
a lot of it,
right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know where you're getting your information, what your school district's like, if you even know, but that stuff, this is Texas, and that stuff's in the curriculum, at least in my child's school.
So, so speaking of talking about things that you have no idea about, completely unprompted, I haven't been asked to plug this book, but last week I attended a talk by physicist Daniel Whiteson and his cartoonist friend Jorge Cham, who some people might know as the author of the webcomic PhD Comics. Uh-huh. So the two of them have collaborated, and I actually have a special interest in this because Daniel Whiteson, the physicist professor, is actually an old classmate of mine. He and I were on the high school debate team together at Los Alamos High School, and I listened to his talk. He's still a good talker. The Los Alamos High School debate team did very well with a lot of people. So I want to brag on my school a little bit, but also I want to mention this book, We Have No Idea, A Guide to the Unknown Universe. It's full of entertaining illustrations by Jorge Cham, and it's an interesting book because it sort of frankly acknowledges the problems that we have, or not problems, but the gaps that we have in our scientific knowledge today. And instead of just papering them over, it paints them as exciting, because a lot of what science is about discovering new things that nobody has ever known before. That's what really gets scientists going. And the content of this book and of the talk they did together was basically saying, look, there's all this stuff we actually don't know yet. We don't fully understand dark matter. We don't know what the smallest particles are. There are tons and tons of things we do not yet know about the universe, and that's great because there's still plenty of chances for kids today to be pioneers and be the first ones to discover these things. During the talk, during the Q&A section, I asked Daniel, so hey, do you ever get contacted by crackpots of various kinds who like the fact that we have no idea about things and use that as an opportunity to shoehorn in the things that they think they do know. I'm talking your Deepak Chopras of the world who also don't know anything but pretend that they have the answers to these questions. And he said, yeah, absolutely. People pitch me on their silly pet theories all the time.
Well, how many times do we get emails from people with no academic background in anything, and they want our help in getting their basically strange theory of the universe peer-reviewed in some way?
Right.
And I mean, one guy literally sent us like, it was like a sheet of loose leaf paper that he had drawn some stuff on, and he scanned it and sent it to us at one point. I think I still have that somewhere in my archive. And that was like part of his thing he wanted peer-reviewed.
So A, even we can tell it's nonsense.
Yeah.
And B, even if we didn't know that, I mean, you know, even if we couldn't tell, we're not qualified to comment on your theory of the universe at all. We're just a couple of clowns on TV once in a while. We don't have these PhDs. But if you want to know more about what we don't know about, again, the book is We Have No Idea. And also, if you want just a quick taste, you can search for a YouTube video that Daniel Whiteson and Jorge Cham did together about the Higgs boson, which was picked up by a lot of news organizations and reposted as one of the clearest explanations that anybody seems to have managed to come up with for explaining the Higgs boson to lay people. So that's it. I just wanted to throw my friend a little support.
I might have to get that for my son.
Yeah.
I might enjoy that.
I got 2 signed copies of it today, and one of them I am about to donate to the ACA library. So if anyone would like to check it out, then come on by.